Trick question. Have you ever felt stuck in an area of your life? Health, wealth, relationships, right? You're trying to lose 25 pounds, but you haven't been able to do it. You're trying to find a healthy relationship, but you haven't been able to do it. You're trying to find more freedom, make more money, feel more successful, but you can't do it. Why? You lack clarity. Clarity is what we're talking about today. Specific problems have specific solutions. I'll say it 100 times. I'm going to give you 3 tools today. We're talking about 3 specific tools with me, Cody. My background's cognitive neuroscience. They're all neuroscience based. 3 tools to help you find more clarity so that you can start taking action in your life and get these problems out of your way. No more roadblocks after today. Let's dive in. What up, party peeps? We're back with another host-only edition of the Decision Lab. Today you got me, Cody. We're talking about clarity. It's something that came up in our Action Academy weekly call. If you don't know what the Action Academy is, it's a group that Chloe and I run where we help people take more action in their life, in health, wealth, relationships. Every month we do challenges. This month's challenge is on our action operating system. So how to define an outcome that you want, how to prioritize what you should be doing every single day using our one thing method, and then how to take action every day consistently and learn from that action. And in that conversation today, or this week, yesterday actually, in our weekly call, we were talking about, the topic was clarity. Clarity, baggage, and action are like the big things that we focus on inside of that community because they're some of the biggest barriers to taking action. And so I was talking to a couple of the people on that call, and they were giving some problems and some struggles and some roadblocks that they were coming up against. And what the group realized is that clarity means something different than people think. A broad problem has no specific solution, but a specific problem has a specific solution. And so clarity and getting deep and really defining what's in your way and really getting out of your own way is a humongous first step. So we're talking about that today. There's a couple tools we'll go over, 3 tools that we'll talk about on getting more clarity on the roadblocks that are in your way, no matter what it is. It could really be any challenge, right? We're called the Decision Lab for a reason. Whether or not you believe in free will, you're making decisions throughout the day. And so having clarity and being able to remove the roadblocks from those, whether it's what supplements should you buy, what advice should you listen to, what relationship you be in, like those types of things, we're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about that today. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is en masse problems. Okay, think about problems. Like, life is full of problems. People think about that all the time. I get them all the time. People come up to me. Come up to me and they're like, "Hey, I'm struggling with anxiety, or I'm lonely, or I can't make more money, or I don't know how to date or make friends." And these are really broad problems if you think about it, right? Just let's take the I'm anxious. What does that even mean? What does it even mean? I'm anxious. Okay. But what do you mean you're anxious? Tell me more about that. Are you anxious when you're driving? Are you anxious in elevators? Are you anxious around people? Are you anxious when you're by yourself? Are you anxious in the middle of the night and wake up at 3 a.m.? When are you anxious? How long have you been anxious for? Are you only anxious when you eat certain things? When you're only anxious when you're around certain people? Are you anxious only in therapy? Do you see how broad really I'm anxious is, or I'm stuck, or I procrastinate, and I don't know how to figure that out? Super, super broad and not specific. Okay. Again, specific problems have specific solutions. Okay. If you're only anxious in cars when you're going over bridges and you're by yourself, that is a way more specific problem to solve, and a way more there's way better tools that we can provide for those types of things, because a tool you might provide to someone who is in their office freaking out is not something you could get to someone who's driving. So the completely different context. And we just stay stuck in these. Like, think about it. Like, I can't lose weight. I can't work out. I can't, like, what's an I can't statement, or something that you came up to recently that you can't figure out? Okay. Put that in your mind for the rest of this conversation, because I'm telling you that it's not specific. Because if it was specific, you would know exactly what to do, right? And just that you haven't gotten there yet to that clarity is the reason you don't know what to do. Clarity can help you take more action. The thing that we learned in the call, though, because one of the people on the call had taken a ton of action, but they were like, I'm posting, and I'm taking a lot of action. How do I find clarity? I feel like I'm taking the action. Like, what do I do now? And it's like, beautiful. You took action. Now you've got to assess what you did, make some adjustments, and then take action again, right? Action helps you create more clarity. Okay, so action helps you take more clarity. Then that clarity can help you take better action, which can produce more clarity, which can produce better action, and you create this positive cycle. The negative cycle is when you don't have clarity, so you don't take action, and less action leads to less clarity, and less clarity leads to less action. So that spiral can go either way. Which one do you want to be in? Okay, probably the positive direction. And initially, it can help to get some clarity so that you feel confident enough to take action. If that's the direction you want to come from, fine, that gets the flywheel moving. I, on the other hand, tend towards action, and I tend towards advising people to take action, because the confidence and the clarity that comes through taking action, right? Action creates motivation. Action creates clarity. It's a cure-all, in my opinion. It gets you data. It's how your brain works. If you just sat there in a room blindfolded and couldn't move around, you could never pick out your environment. Movement is an inherent part of how our brains work. Okay, all the way down to a molecular level. I won't get into cortical columns and like sensory motor cortical columns and neurons and all the stuff, but I'm telling you, taking action is wired into you. And so when we get stuck not taking action, that's when a lack of clarity comes. So she was taking tons of action. She needed help assessing and adjusting and taking more specific action with more clarity. We had another person who did not have a specific problem, did not have clarity at all, and felt paralyzed and was procrastinating. Surprise, surprise. You don't know what to do because it's too broad. It's not specific enough, okay? So there are tools that can help us do this. The first meta tool, if you will, is just this awareness that if you're struggling with something, having clarity can help you immensely. It can help you solve problems way more effectively. Okay, so just think about that. Think of an area in your health, wealth, or relationships right now. Put it in your mind before we go through these tools. Where do you feel stuck? In your health, your wealth, your relationships. Maybe you're not making the money you want. Maybe you have the money you want, but you don't have the freedom you want. Maybe you have the money and the freedom, but you don't feel like you're living on purpose. Okay, maybe you are single. Your friend group is awesome. Your family is awesome, but you're single and you're looking for an intimate partner. Okay, maybe in the health compartment, you're looking to exercise more effectively. You're looking to eat better. You're looking to improve your mental and emotional health. You're looking to heal some trauma. Okay, get specific first and foremost in health, wealth, and relationships, and put that in your mind. Okay, as we go through these tools. So the first one, almost everybody's talked about this. Almost everybody knows about this, but no one uses it. The 5 whys. Okay, I use this all the time. All the freaking time. I'm a freaking trauma therapist. I work all the time with people and helping them understand, what is your biggest fear? Okay. And if that happened, what are you afraid would happen? Okay. And if that happened, what are you afraid would happen? And if that happened, what are you afraid would happen? And digging and digging and digging and digging. It's 5 questions. 5 whys, cool. But it could be 5 questions as well. The 5 whys are super helpful. So if you think of, I'm overwhelmed by decision making. Let's just use decision making in general. Okay. Well, why is that? Because I'm afraid I'll choose the wrong option. Fair. Okay. Why is that? Because choosing the wrong option might lead to some type of failure. Okay, got it. Why are you afraid of failure? Because failure feels like it'd be embarrassing and shameful. Okay, we're getting deeper. Why do you feel like it'd be embarrassing or shameful to fail or whatever? Because deep down, I'm afraid of disappointing others. Wow. Wow, that is a way different than where we started with. I'm afraid to make I'm overwhelmed by decisions. We're getting way deeper. Okay, let's ask why again. Why do you feel like you're disappointing someone? Because I never felt good enough as a child, and disappointment always brought criticism. Got it. Okay, so there's a wounded child inside of you that is petrified and helping you, paralyzing you with analysis paralysis is a way to keep you safe from disappointing others and getting criticized. Makes sense. That makes total freaking sense. And now you have a specific problem to work on. Got it. I need to go befriend that little one and help it understand, hey, I'm older now and it's okay. I've got this, right? And or maybe work with someone who's trained in IFS, or work with a coach, work with a therapist, whatever, but you have a specific problem. Okay. That's literally just asking why 5 times, right? Take your broad issue. Okay. Why have you not been able to figure out how to exercise? Why have you not been able to lose weight? Why have you not found an intimate partner? Okay. And start broad and then ask those whys 5 times and get more specific by the very, very end. Okay. So the 5 whys is a really great framework. Everybody talks about it, but nobody uses it. Use it, implement it. Information is worthless. Implement that. If nothing else, pause this and implement that and see what happens. Okay. The other one, people start to confuse objective reality and subjective reality. So an easier way to think about that is meaning making, or the story that you tell yourself is another easy way to think about this. Okay. So when you're thinking about our brains, we are actively creating our experience and our reality. Okay. So there is what some people call objective reality, right? Which is what actually happened. And then there's subjective reality, which is the story you tell about what actually happened. Easy example I give all the time is a little girl is waiting there in line to be picked up after school. Her mom's running a little bit late. She calls her mom. Hey, mom, where you at? What's going on? Mom's like, I'm on my way. I'll get there soon. I'll get there as soon as I can. And like, boom, hangs up the phone. And the little girl is sitting there like, oh, damn, what happened? What the heck? What is a story she might tell about that? I'm not good enough. I'm not important. She doesn't care about me. I'm not worthy, right? And that's the subjective experience. That's not what happened, but that's what the meaning she made from it. Right. The meaning she made from this story is, oh, she doesn't care about me. I'm worthless. I'm not important. Right. That's subjective. Objectively, the mom said, I'm on my way. I'll be there soon. Was the tone right? Was it like, no, okay, fair. It's totally reasonable that a little kid would tell that subjective story, but it is just that, a story. It's not actually what happened. It's a belief and a story that was created in that moment, but it is not objectively what happened. Okay. And so these stories get wire and fire themselves into our subconscious at a depth that we do not fully even understand or conceptualize until we are taught about this kind of stuff. Okay, so we automatically and unconsciously do these things. Okay, and they stay hidden, but eventually they get, as you grow up, that I'm not worthy will show up in other areas. I'm not good enough. I'm not important will show up in other areas like a relationship. And then you all of a sudden do the 5 whys and realize, oh, I don't feel like I'm good enough or worthy enough to have a conversation. To do these things. And so the conversation or the question to ask yourself here is, what's the problem you're trying to solve? And what stories are you telling yourself about why you can or can't do it? What rules are you following that maybe you don't even need to follow anymore? That's the question to ask. If you can ask that question, what stories are you telling yourself about this, right? Are you telling yourself that it is hard to make money? You have to work hard to make money? Is that a story you're telling yourself? Is that a belief that you have? It doesn't have to be hard. There's plenty of people that make money in easy ways. Is the story you're telling yourself is that there's a dating crisis and dating is hard? Even though statistically 54% of people are married, even long-term relationships are thriving right now. So what stories are you telling yourself about these things? And are those stories getting in the way of the outcome that you want, right? This is another way to create clarity for yourself, is examining the stories that you're telling about these things. And it shows up in so many freaking ways. And it could be at work. Maybe you're in sales and someone says, let me think about it. Let me think about your offer, right? What happened is they said, let me think about it. The story you might say is, oh, they're rejecting me. My price is too high. They don't think I'm good enough. Those are stories. That's not what happened. They said, let me think about your offer, right? Or maybe you saw your friends posting on social media, you saw them posting about something fun that they did while you're working, while you're grinding. So that's what happened. But the story you're telling, I'm wasting my youth grinding while everyone else actually enjoys life. Maybe that's the story you tell. I'll never catch up socially. I'm losing friendships because I'm too career focused. Maybe that's the story you're telling. True success means sacrifice and loneliness. That could be a story. That could be a story you're telling yourself. That's something that I struggle with, or a story that I work on sometimes, right? So these are the stories that we tell ourselves. And so what you can do is identify the story, figure it out. What's the problem? My partner didn't text back quickly. Okay. What's a story you're telling yourself about it? That's the first thing, is start to handle and identify the story. So the story you might be saying is, oh, they're losing interest and our relationship is in trouble. That's a story. Them not texting back quickly is what happened. That's objective. Subjectively, though, they're losing interest. They never said that. That's not what happened. Okay. So do a reality check. Okay. My partner didn't reply for how long? Get more specific. They didn't reply for 3 hours. Got it. Okay. Notice the story that you're talking about. Is the story you're telling yourself exactly what happened, or is it something that you created? Okay. Then being able to say, oh, that's not what actually happened. They didn't text back for 3 hours. Okay. And that allows you to pull yourself out of the story and look at this more clearly, whether it's with weight loss, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's with work. You can use this and examine these stories and move and respond instead of react. And you can use this framework. You can go to the story I'm telling myself is that you didn't respond back quickly. And so there's this part of me, right? You can use some parts language from IFS. There's this part of me is telling me a story that means you're losing interest and that our relationship is in trouble. Like, could you help me with this? And now you can, instead of saying, you didn't text me back and reacting and getting mad, you can come and say, I'm just telling, this part of me is telling me is this wild story about you not texting back, meaning that you're not interested in me or you don't care about me. Can you help me with that? Can we talk about that? Right? That's a way different way to show up, right? And that solves the problem of the anxiety that's coming up in relation to the text. in a way that diffuses the situation instead of lighting the bomb. And that's a super easy way. So tool number 2, again, is the story. What story are you telling yourself? Is it really what happened or not? Is it really a rule that you need to follow anymore or not? Ask yourself that to get some clarity. All right, the next tool is called the logical levels. You may have heard of this one as well, but this is a really great question framework to clarify your problem by exploring like different aspects or levels, as they would call it. There's a couple levels. Different models have different levels of this. The one that I look at has about 6. So it talks about your environment, your behavior, your capabilities, your beliefs and values, your identity, and your purpose. Okay. The bottom line is that you can't solve a problem in the level that it's at. Okay. And so if let's pretend that your problem is I'm feeling stuck and overwhelmed. Okay. This is one of the most common things I hear is people are just stuck and overwhelmed. So think about this then. So the first question, the first layer of this pyramid, if you will, is environment. Okay. Where and when do you feel stuck and overwhelmed? Is it at work? Okay. Is it at work when you're facing a tight deadline? Okay. Got it. So that's the environment. Then you move up a level into level 2, if this is a pyramid, into behavior. Okay. So what specific behaviors happen? So you procrastinate, or you avoid difficult tasks, or you distract yourself with low value activities like doom scrolling or something like that. That's some of the behaviors that are showing up when you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed. Okay. Then go up a level. Okay. Capabilities. How? Like what skills or strategies are you lacking? Okay. What capabilities are you lacking? Okay. I lack clear prioritization methods and effective stress management techniques. Okay. Cool. That's cool. That's all right. Right. We're just examining this problem. Then you move up a layer, right? We get into beliefs and values or stories. You can, from our last tool, you can think about this as stories as well, but why? What's coming up? What's going on? Deep down, maybe you believe that mistakes equal failure, or you value perfection. So it makes you afraid to start tasks. Okay, got it. Right? So a belief is the fear of failure, and a value might be perfection. Okay, you can examine those now. You can have a conversation with those now. Okay, as we keep going up this, now we get to identity. Okay, the next layer of this pyramid is identity. Who am I? Maybe you see yourself as someone who must achieve flawlessly, otherwise you risk feeling worthless and inadequate. Okay, wow. So this is now at an identity level. That's wow. Okay, so you need to become someone new, maybe, right? And so now you're at the identity level, and then the last level, and this is one that people kind of go back and forth on. I like it. Is purpose. So what's the deeper meaning or purpose here? Okay, so maybe you want to succeed to prove your worth to yourself and others. But that pressure is causing anxiety and overwhelm instead of fulfillment. Okay, so maybe that purpose is a place that you can look. And again, you cannot solve a problem effectively at the same level where it originates. You've got to shift to a higher or lower level. So for example, if you're stuck at the behavior level, right, procrastination, like we talked about, a lot of people struggle with that. You can move up to the beliefs to understand why you're avoiding action, right? So you can move up to a level and figure out, okay, what stories, what beliefs, what values are making procrastination the behavior that I exhibit. The other thing too, if you're in the behavior level, right, behavior is level 2 technically, you could go down a level and look at the environment. What environments do you not procrastinate in? Could you put yourself in those environments more often? Right? But you can't figure out a problem. If procrastination is the one you want to zone in on, then you need to look at levels outside of the level you're in. Another example is if you're struggling with clarity, right? We're talking about clarity right now. And you can't figure out, you're at the beliefs and values level. Okay. You could shift down to capabilities to develop a skill like you're learning right now. You're in the capability skill development area right now. So you could learn that and develop the skill of creating clarity for yourself, which would allow you to find those values and those beliefs more effectively, or get help to develop that skill, work with a coach or a therapist, right? So by clearly defining your problem and what level it's at, you can shift through the levels appropriately. And then you can pinpoint where your internal block exists. And then you can choose, okay, what level do I need to work on to solve this problem? Going one above or one below is most effective generally. If you're doing deeper work with somebody, like a coach or a therapist, sometimes you can work on a level that is far away from the level where the problem originates, right? So if you have a behavioral problem and you have someone who can help you work on your identity and some of the core beliefs and traumas and things that have created who you are today, you can, surprise, surprise, shift your behavior very rapidly. Even if you're even by going up to identity, which is 3 steps away from that level. Okay. And we'll try to put a visual on the screen so you can see these levels, but think about them like a pyramid. Okay. You got environment at the bottom, behavior number 2, number 3 is capabilities, number 4 is beliefs and values, number 5 is identity, and at the very top is number 6 is purpose. And it's a pyramid. Okay. And so this is a way that you can think about this. So you can think about where your problem is, and then think about the environment. Where, with whom, when does it show up? Okay. Then think about your problem and think about behavior. What specific behaviors or actions pop up? Okay. What do you say or what do you do? Okay. Then think about capabilities. How? What knowledge or skills or strategies are you lacking that prevent you from solving this problem? Okay. What about beliefs? Okay. This is the 5 whys. This is the story. This is the clarity. This tool kind of brings it all together. But what are you holding true, whether it's right or wrong? Okay. It's an interesting question to ask. Then what about identity? Who are you? How do you think of yourself? It could be something that's holding you back as well. And then purpose. What's the deeper purpose or meaning? Okay. And then creating that action plan to solve these problems is a really, really powerful and easy way to use the logical levels. Once you find it, okay, which level am I at? What level am I going to go to, above or below, to help solve this problem? Beautiful. Let's do that. Okay. A really common one I see is people are just in the wrong environments. It's at the very bottom of the logical levels, because your environment is one of the most powerful predictors of your feelings, thoughts, actions, beliefs, emotions, the stories you tell yourself, your success, your failures. Put yourself in a different environment. Surprise, surprise. Like, get out of that level up into a new level, right? Take an action and put yourself in a new environment, move to a new city, move to a new group, find a new friend group, things like that. It's hard, but that changes your behavior and shifts everything, because your environment is that powerful. Okay. So when you're thinking about clarity, these are the things I want you to think about. Okay. These are 3 tools that can help you find clarity, not just in like what advice or supplement should you take, or what products or tools or health and wellness things, like what advice should you take? Like, these are mental frameworks you can use to solve any problem in your life. No matter what it is. Highly recommend taking a minute and working through these things. Take pause, go back through this video, go back through this podcast, and have a conversation with yourself about a problem that you really want to solve, and go through those tools. There's no reason not to. Okay. All right. Something else I want to hit on. We have these inside the lab moments here. A couple things. Interesting research out of the Netherlands that I want to hit on that kind of ties in with what we're talking about today. Is they did research in the Netherlands where they had students go into a lab, and they were playing white noise in the lab. And they asked the students, when you hear a song, the song A White Christmas, in the white noise, we want you to click a button. Okay. If you hear the song, just click a button. And 1/3 of the students clicked the button. However, in the white noise, a white Christmas was never there. It never showed up. They never played it. Okay. And so what does this mean? So there's something called predictive processing, right? Your brain creates your reality more than it senses your reality. Okay. And so your expectations, your beliefs, the stories you're telling yourself about something creates that reality to a large degree. And you have more control and power over this than you think you do. Okay. It's wild. And this research supports that predictive processing hypothesis. And so it's just something to think about as you are going through your days. If you don't have this clarity, and you stay stuck in these stories, and you stay stuck in these different levels, and don't do anything to get to clarity, to take these actions, and you don't take agency over these things and your expectations, you'll stay stuck, because your brain's going to predict you and create that reality and predict you into that reality. This isn't kumbaya in the forest. This is not like, this is science. Okay. This is neuroscience. So highly, highly recommend taking a look at the expectations, the rules you follow for no reason. Like, what are rules that you still follow to this day that you don't have to follow? You're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to get in trouble, but you're still following the rules. Why? What expectations do you have about dating, about your health, about your wealth, about your relationships, about your success, about your purpose, about your friends, about your family? What are those expectations? Take a look at those. Take a look at those. Your brain is plastic. You can learn to shift those things, right? And it will predict the reality that you allow it to predict if you don't take control of the expectations you have. That's our inside the lab science fact, research fact that we'll talk about today. And that's all we got. We didn't have any Q&A this week from the audience, but if you guys have questions, please DM us or comment them in YouTube, and we'll grab those and answer those questions next time we chat. But otherwise, we got some big stuff coming up. We've got an interview with a neuroscientist that runs, he's the health chief health officer of Quality of Mind. We're going to bring him on to talk about quality, and then we're having an expert interview with him as well. We've got a Stanford neuroscientist who's publishing a book soon. He's going to come on, Dr. Ben. We've got some really cool conversations with some cool brands coming up, talking about stem cells, talking about sleep, talking about hoodies that you can wear on planes that have sleep masks and ear muffs and all this cool stuff. So make sure you like and subscribe so you get those. If there's an expert or a brand you want us to talk to, like a founder you want us to talk to, let us know. We'll get them on the podcast, have a conversation with them, ask them the tough questions we always ask. And we love hearing from you. So please drop us a line, drop us a question, drop us a brand, whatever it is, DM it to us. If you see an ad, send us the ad. That's super helpful. We'll reach out to the brand and say, hey, would you be down to come on the pod? Our audience wants to chat with you, and we'll do it. We are your mouthpiece. So please subscribe and then engage. We would love to hear more from you and talk to the brands you want us to talk with. So that's all we got for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Chloe and I are trying to do more of these individually and together. Having some conversations with y'all. I enjoy doing these solo ones, especially on a specific topic. So I hope this was helpful for you. Hope it brings more clarity into your life. Keep crushing things. I'll catch you next time. Peace.